Welcome to the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together.
Baseball family, welcome to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast. My name is Brad. I'm here with our guy, Brig. Brig, how are you today?
I'm making it. I'm actually doing pretty well. How are you?
Good. I'm getting through. Allergies randomly just popped on like an hour ago. So, I don't know.
Nice. Why. Well,
yeah, probably just because it's a Monday. I don't know. But
that could very well be exactly why. And that's all that matters.
But here we are. We're going to get through, and it's going to be great. There's a lot of really cool stuff to talk about today. I don't want to. I want to say it's quality over quantity. There's not a lot, but there's some really interesting, some good stuff there. But before we get into that, we always want to remind you about Chinook Seedery. Head over to ChinookSeedery.com. Use code BTPOD at checkout to save 10% off your order. I have cinnamon toast today. Brig always has Parmesan pepper.
Bet you can't guess which one I've got. I'm running low.
Perfect combination of sweet and salty with cinnamon toast. Parm and pep is quite frankly where it's at. I don't know. They're all really good. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that, we partner with them, we support them, but there's a reason, because they truly are the best seeds ever. That's why we reached out to them to partner, and they said, cool, let's do it, and here we are. And we get to save you a 10% off your order, ChinookSeedery.com. Use code BTPOD. All right, let's get into baseball stuff. First things first. We joked last week about how Bud Black had photos, or knew where the bodies were buried, or something.
Yeah. That's exactly.
Within 48 hours, Bud Black was fired by the Rockies. Just a terrible couple days. They got outscored 63-9 or something like that over the course of 4 games, I think. A big chunk of that came with a 3-touchdown loss to the Padres on Saturday. 21-0 for those of you unfamiliar with the count. Mm-hmm. But they said that the decision came before the game on Sunday. And based on the timing, I can't tell exactly when because I didn't watch the game. So I don't know if he was in the dugout or not, actually managing the game, or if he was not there. But either way, if he was managing, he was a dead man walking, because, like I said, the Rockies had said they made the decision before the game. They actually won the game 9-3, though.
They made the decision before Sunday's game?
They said they made the decision before Sunday's game, but I can't tell if they fired him before the game or after based on timing.
Right, I see what you're saying. Because they got pummeled. That was Saturday, the game they got just walloped. Yeah.
21-0. Yeah, and then Sunday they won, and I was like, if it happened before the game, then that's the fire the manager win, right? Because the Pirates got that over the weekend. They got the fire the manager win, which apparently,
sure enough, it's a thing. It happens every consistently. Time. It's almost every time that they win at least one, if not a whole slew of them, as soon as the manager's fired.
And I don't think it's so much the change in voice or the change in leadership in the clubhouse. I think it is, and Eric Kratz and AJ Przinsky talk about this on Foul Territory all the time. Anytime a manager gets fired, you're not like, oh man, I feel bad for that guy. Or like, oh, that's on me.
Right. Yeah.
Right? That I'm part of the collective that led to this guy losing his job. And I'm curious if it's one of those things where guys almost kick it into another gear, because up to that point, they're just kind of in season operating mode, right?
Yeah.
We're losing, not a whole lot we can do about it. Oh, but we really need to kick it into gear and win one for the Gipper today.
Somebody's really mad.
Yes. And something that I think is interesting you don't see as much as you would think you would see is that when the Mariners fired Scott Service, they also demoted a few guys.
Yeah.
Before and after. And I don't think you see that as often as you might think you would.
Right. They did have some coaching shuffling that went on.
Right.
But I didn't see... Yeah, it wasn't as dramatic as when the Mariners did it. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. So you talked about coaching shuffling. So the Rockies fired Bud Black, manager, and also their bench coach. And so what they did is they promoted third base coach Warren Schaefer to interim manager, and hitting coach Clint Hurdle, who is Dan Le Batard says is leading the league in orange. He was promoted to interim bench coach. So they got a couple of internal guys the rest of the year going through, and we'll see what happens. Currently, the Rockies are 7-31. That's on pace, Brick, for 133 losses, which is 12 games worse than last year's record-setting White Sox at 121. Again, that's just last year. And
amazing.
An interesting thing came out of L.A. as a result of this as well, because Dave Roberts, who coached with Bud Black with the Padres, actually Bud Black gave him his first big league coaching position with the Padres. And I think he said what we were all thinking. He said, I don't think Casey Stengel could change the outcome of that ball club, and that's not the manager's fault.
Bingo. Well said,
They just don't
Dave.
have the talent.
Well said. Or the drive. Or whatever.
I just don't think it's a very well put together team. They have some guys who can play.
Yeah, they've got a couple.
Unfortunately, Chris Bryant has not been good since he got there or healthy.
Well, he's been hurt
and now we know why.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. And now we know why. Ryan McMahon, up and down, right?
Yep.
It's one thing I did think was funny is that I was looking to see if they're playing today, and they are. They are playing playing the Rangers today, and they have Chase Dollander going, who, by the way, is 2-3. Dude has two of their 7 wins this year. Maybe let's chalk up another one for the Rockies tonight. If you got
let's give it to him.
I hope you had the money line because.
Well, who are they facing? I mean, I know it's Texas.
The Rangers in Texas.
But who's the starting pitcher?
Oh, for the Rangers?
Yeah,
it's Tyler Mahle, who's 3-1, but still
could happen.
Couple of games, got your best pitcher by record going on the mound.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see.
Well, baseball family, you'll know before we do. Yeah. If you're listening to this, the answer is clear.
Yes. But I'm curious, Brig. My last thing on this is: do you think that the Rockies are going to figure it out this year? Like the bar is so low at this point. Like the bar at this point is don't lose 121 games.
That's it. That's all it is.
Right? Do you think they figured out enough that they don't lose 121 games?
Nope.
Me neither. Because it's not Bud Black. He's been a great manager.
It would
for
be
what
crazy.
He's been given.
Yeah. Well, they just signed him. They just extended him. That's the crazy part of this story.
Just a 1-year extension. It was just
still
this year.
they still extended him, and it was like, what? When that happened, we were aghast. We were so confused.
Yeah.
And now this makes sense.
And I think the general manager on Saturday even gave like the vote of confidence, right? Like, oh, the firing is coming now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry, Rockies fans. It's going to be a long year. The Broncos season will be here before you know it. All right, let's.
And the Nuggets. Let's not be.
Well, the Nuggets are still playing. You're right.
You know what I mean?
You're right. Yeah, I know what you mean. All right. Speaking of the Padres, though, putting up 3 touchdowns. That's 21-0 is insane. I heard. I think it was Jason Stark or I can't remember. Some reporter said that there has never even been an NFL game that was scored 21-0.
Seriously?
3 even touchdowns to 0. Yeah. No.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. That at least the other team has scored at least once in a 21-point game.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So the last time this happened was in 1889. The starter tossing a complete game shutout and the offense putting up 20-plus runs. It was the Cincinnati Red Stockings, because of course it was. Yeah. They scored 21. And
22.
Do we have their opponent?
I think they scored 22.
They scored 22. Do we know who it was against?
I think it was 22. I think it was... nope, I don't know.
Don't know. All right. Well, anyway,
I'm gonna look.
It happened. It's been a very long time. You know what? Baseball Reference might not even know at this point because that was a very long time ago.
Yeah.
I'll let you look that up while I talk some more. Anyway, Stephen Kolek pitched his second start ever. He had 24.
This is crazy. This is crazy to me.
Okay.
No, you say it. But this is
what I'm saying.
Pay attention. This is crazy.
So he had 24 relief appearances in 2024, and on Saturday he went 9 innings, full 9, 5 hits, 2 walks, 7 Ks. Against a team that was just reeling, and I hope to say this was bottoming out for them, because it sure looked like it the 3 days prior leading up to this.
Right.
But a team that's going to lose that many games, you don't know if it's going to be. It could get worse than this. But anyway, the Padres got 24 hits in the game. Every Padre who entered the game got on base at least once. 8 guys had multi-hit games. That's a franchise record. Lockridge came in for Tatis. He had no hits, but did have a walk in his 1 plate appearance. The Padres hit 5 home runs. Fernando Tatis Jr. passed Tony Gwynn as the franchise home run leader.
Not the franchise home run leader, on the leaderboard. Like on the list of franchise
on the board,
home run
leaderboard.
Leaders. Okay. He has now lapped Tony Gwynn. Yeah.
Okay,
which I
good.
think
Thank
is
you. I read that wrong.
Also astonishing.
It is. Yeah. The Padres played the Rockies already in a series once this season, and for those of you who don't remember, during that series, the Padres shut the Rockies out completely.
No runs allowed. Not at all. Crazy.
And nobody crossed the plate. So the run differential in this series is wild right now.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And and aside from Bud Black being fired before or after the game, whatever it was, I feel like the Rockies winning the game on Sunday should not come as a surprise to anybody.
Right.
Because they were absolutely due to win a game, score runs, and beat the Padres. So, there we go.
You know what I think is interesting? I just looked this up. I didn't put it in the notes, but I looked this up. They play 6 more games against one another in September.
Yeah. This series could end up being what's that? 20 or that's 12 total is what they play.
Right.
11-1 in favor of the Padres.
Yeah. No.
Let's come back to that. Let's come back in September and add up the run differential, because I'm curious what that's going to be.
Yeah, that'll be good. I like that.
A little side note, if Luis Arraez wins a batting title this year, he'll have 4 straight. Last time that happened was with the Padres. It was Tony Gwynn, 94-97. Yeah. But we also had Wade Boggs, the Red Sox, do it, 85-88. Rod Carew with the Twins, 72-75. Rogers Hornsby with the Cardinals, 1920-25. Ty Cobb with the Tigers, 1907-1915. That's quite a stretch. And then Honus Wagner with the Pirates, 1906-1909. That's a pretty elite group.
That? Yeah. Yeah. It'll be
great. So if
he
does it, does that get him in the Hall?
Boy, I don't, maybe.
It's funny because you listen to everybody talk about him. They're like, well, he's just a slap hitter. He just goes up there and hits singles. Yeah, but that means he's on base for the guys behind him to drive him in. And he's not fast by any stretch of the imagination. No. But there's something to be said for just being on base for guys, because it turns a Tatis homer into a 2-run shot instead of a solo bomb.
That's right.
I'll take that every day of the week.
I just looked it up. In his 7 years in the league, he's at a 15.1 WAR. Not on pace for Hall of Fame numbers.
Not even a little bit.
Nope.
Might have to be a culture club thing, being he went against the grain and was the greatest hitter of his generation.
Yeah.
The greatest hitter by average.
Just to give you a reference point, Aaron Judge, 10 years in the league, has a 55.9 career B WAR right now. That's Hall of Fame pace. And he's on a Hall of Fame pace for a lot of other things. I'm just saying, like, if we need, what does the ceiling look like right now? That's as good a ceiling as you can find. 15.1 over 7 seasons, it's not cutting it.
No, that's not very much. Not at all.
Judge has a 10.8 season twice in B WAR, okay?
Judge is insane, though. Like, he's just...
Yeah.
I don't know. We could do a whole episode on Judge. But
we don't need to talk about that right now. Sorry.
That's all right. Okay, let's talk about Evan Longoria instead. How about this?
Yep.
He's 39 years old. He's signing a one-day deal to officially retire with the Tampa Bay Rays on June the 7th. Played a total of 16 seasons. He played 10 of those with the Rays. Yeah, with 10 of those with the Rays. He was never a Devil Ray, though.
No.
The year before he made his debut was their last year as the Devil Rays. I was like, oh, yeah, he's a Devil. No, he was not a Devil Ray. Absolutely not.
Correct. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. His last game with the Rays was October 1st, 2017, and then he was traded to the Giants in December of that same year. He never returned to Tampa, or sorry, I should say St. Pete, never to return to the Trop as a visitor between 2017 and 2023 to play.
Okay, wait, hold on. Can you believe that? He never even got to go back as a visiting player.
It is crazy to think about. However, if you remember that we've only had a balanced schedule since last year when he wasn't playing anymore, or wasn't on a team last year.
It feels so weird to say that he literally has not set foot in the Trop with cleats on one time since he was traded.
Right. I think Ken Griffey Jr. only played at T-Mobile Safeco as a visitor like one time.
Exactly. But even he did it one time.
Yeah,
it's just
one time.
Anyway,
yeah,
it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy to think about. But he hasn't played since October 1st, 2023. He didn't make the D-backs. I don't think he made their postseason roster at all the year that they won the went to the World Series.
I don't know. I think maybe he. I don't remember. But yeah, it was not. He was not a very active participant, one way or the other.
No, he was not. The only time he has been back, really, for as far as being a participant in anything game day related, was he went back to the Rays last year to throw out the first pitch in July. And he said, the one thing that I felt like I missed in my career was the opportunity to come back here. This is he's standing in the back of the Trop press box. More importantly, as a player, to have the opportunity to come back and play in front of the fans. He is the greatest player in Rays history, and part of that is because they don't keep anybody for any super extended period of time. He got the rare extension and then was traded, right?
Right.
Yeah. I think they signed him to an extension. He put up a 51.7 B-WAR career, 270 average, 341 on base, 483 slug with a 125 OPS plus. It was pretty good.
Yeah. That's just in the 10 years he was with Tampa.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
And he got MVP votes as well. Despite he was on, so this is the thing that's crazy. He was an All-Star his first 3 years, but he still was getting MVP votes despite not being an All-Star 3 of those years. In 11, 13, and 16, he finished top 20 in all of those. And he got a Gold Glove in 17 as well.
And Rookie of the Year.
So
he was Rookie of the Year.
Right. Yeah, well, and he does have more MVP finishes because he finished his first 3 years 11th, 19th, and 6th. He got Gold Gloves his second and third year. Got a Silver Slugger his second year. He was on a trajectory. I remember watching him those first couple of years, and the trajectory he was on was astronomical. And that his first postseason appearance, or his first postseason plate appearance, he hit a homer, and it was like, this dude is
here's the future.
He is on his way.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep. Yeah. But the question I have for you about Evan Longoria, first I have two. One,
okay.
How long until they put him in the team's Hall of Fame?
3 hours.
3 hours after his retirement? They do it that day?
Yeah. I don't know how long it'll take. Probably long enough for them to accumulate all of the memorabilia, honestly.
It's probably about how long it should take.
With a team whose history is that recent, who they don't have any other franchise players to speak of, and he is easily the most accomplished, the most important player in franchise history. Mm-hmm. There's no way they don't make him a fixture forever. Even if we look back in 30 or 40 years and we're like, yeah, okay, but he, whatever, he's not Mr. Tampa Bay Ray or whatever it ends up being, because somebody else comes in and takes that, right? That's possible.
I don't know if they're going to give anybody a chance to, though.
Exactly. but without major restructuring of the entire ownership group, front office, philosophy, everything. What I'm saying is, though, if in a handful of decades we look back and we see him as like the earliest, that's great. That'll still be great. It'll still facilitate the storyline that is the Tampa Bay Rays history.
Right. Currently, other than Jackie Robinson, they have Wade Boggs and Don Zimmer. They have their numbers retired.
Whoa.
And so add number 3 to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because
if you've retired Wade Boggs' number, then you've got to retire Longoria's number.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So funny.
0 questions.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we got some Nolan Arenado stuff here, Brig. Why don't you take this away? Because this seems like it's kind of your baby. Looking at the notes here.
I got into the weeds on this Nolan Arenado thing. So, or Arenado, however people prefer us to say it. I don't care. Let's talk about the Cardinals for a moment. They've won 7 in a row as of Monday evening, okay, the 12th. Who knows what's going to happen tonight? I don't know. He was interviewed, and he said that, I'm paraphrasing, but he essentially said that the first part of the season, they were just showing up, hoping some good would happen, but now they're excited to go to the ballpark every day, which makes sense, right? It's fun to win. The end. They dominated the Nationals, okay, in a 3-game series. The game 1, they went 10-0. Game 2, they beat them 4-2, and then game 3, 6-1. So it was a breakout series for the Cards, okay? But my question is, so what? So who cares? They beat the Nats, right? Like, whatever.
A low-level team. Yeah.
But let's look at it. Because the Nats are 9 games behind the Mets right now. And they're not going to advance beyond that. Like, they're not.
Right.
So do we really care? Can we really sit there and feel spectacular or even overly positive if we're the Cardinals? I argue maybe, but probably not. That is my official position. Here's why.
Okay.
Here's why. I'm saying no. Okay. I'm actually saying no. They are 1 game behind the Cubs. They are 3 games ahead of the Brewers right now in the standings. They are 15-6 at home. So if they play at Busch, things are good. But they are 7-13 in away appearances, in away games. That is
Yikes.
Exactly the opposite. So, Rut-row, you have to play a bunch of games away. In case you didn't know, you can't play all your games at home. It just worked that way. And they're going to play the Phillies next, and then they're going to play Kansas City next. And they're both away series. They're in Philly, and then they're in Kansas City at Kauffman. I'm saying that this 7-game streak hits a brick wall. Okay, now they might pick up 1 or 2 of those 6. I don't know. But they're not gonna. This momentum stops. Okay. They did take 2 out of 3 against the Mets, but that was at home, right? Mm-hmm. And see, that's important. Is this enough to call it a tide shift for this Cardinals team? It's not. Okay. Here's what I think is happening, and you agree with me, right? This is not
right. Yeah, no,
nothing
it's
spectacular.
A favorable stretch of the schedule.
Perfect. I agree. So, I think what's happening is that the team is kind of going the way Arenado's going, right?
Okay.
He's the leadership guy. He's the veteran player.
And that happens. That happens.
It does. It totally does. So I think he is showing up differently. Therefore, the rest of the team is showing up differently. That got me asking, well, why is he showing up differently? And I think it's really simple. I think he's anticipating a trade. And so he is increasing his trade value. And he's trying to do it single-handedly because he can. He can dial in his plate appearances. He can keep his defense at almost perfect, right? Which it is. So I think that's all it is. But let's walk down a timeline, okay? And this is where things got really interesting. He played 24 games in April. Okay, now I know we're only 9 or so games into May. I got it. But he played 24 games in April. He spent the 1st through the 11th and the 14th and 15th, the game splits, okay, in those games, 1 through 11 April, and then 14th and 15th of April, he was above 300 in those games, okay? But from the 12th and 13th, and then hop over those couple of games, and then the 16th through the 30th of April, he was sub 300, decreasing daily. Literally, his batting average every game got worse every day until the end of April. Okay? 9 games in May, he's batting .353 just in the month of May right now. So, since May 2nd, his batting average per day has steadily increased, and it is every single day. He started at May 2nd, he was at .237 is what he batted on May 2nd. And now he's up to batting .270 in his last game. And it goes up a little bit at a time every single day. Now, super duh, his fielding percentage is .969. Okay, so we all know that he's
pretty
an
much
incredible
where you would
third
expect
baseman.
it to be, yeah.
Right. He's got 3 errors. They're probably not his fault. Whatever. Official scorekeepers aside, things can get screwy with did he get a hit? Did he get an error? You can't always trust the error note, though sometimes it is extremely accurate. But I don't trust it. I want to look closer. Anyway, so I'm thinking, what's going on? Well, he wants to get traded. Okay, so he's dialing his stuff in. Now, he turned down trade offers this offseason to Houston and to LA Angels, the team in Anaheim. Okay? He said, no, I'm not going there. Obviously, it is way too early to be talking about trades in terms of offers, but it is not too early, given what we've seen around the league, to consider possible trade and to know that there is discussion happening behind closed doors, off the public radar, maybe outside of St. Louis, but I don't know if front offices are yet talking. Maybe. I don't know. Call them good old boy network or whatever. So it's a little too early for official news, but I do think it's interesting to look at who around the league needs a third baseman. First things first, the Dodgers have got a problem with Max Muncy. It's awful.
Yeah, it's been that way for a while. I mean,
yeah.
Last year, this is the thing. Last year, I feel like Max Muncy was like mostly fine, but he also missed a bunch of time due to injury. So it's smaller sample size.
I agree.
But I mean, he's 34?
Yeah.
So
I think he's 34.
Yeah, he's 34.
So is Nolan Arenado. Okay. So, but let's look at some averages. Okay. So we've got Max Muncy is batting .209 right now. Nolan is at .270. Okay. Like I said, we
Max
walked up and
Muncy's
down.
batting .190 right now.
Oh, it just went down in the time I took to put this together. Cool. It probably will go down again.
Maybe you looked at the wrong. Did you look at the wrong
before
Max
tomorrow
Muncy?
morning? Yeah.
Because there are 2 Max Muncies, by the way, in Major League Baseball.
I know. I'm looking at the third baseman from the Dodgers.
There
are not 2 third base Max Muncies playing in L.A. There's just not.
You're right. The other one's in Sacramento.
Yeah. Which is bizarre. Okay, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Fielding. All this data comes from Fangraphs. Okay. According to Fangraphs, Max Muncy, as of this moment, is at a negative 2.2 grade for fielding. That pales in comparison to Arenado's at like 5, right?
Okay.
Slugging is worse than Nolan's. He's at 400. Nolan's at 422. Okay. Muncy is also in the final season of a 2-year deal. There's a club option for 26. Don't see that happening.
I'm curious where Fangraphs is getting their stuff because.
Are you seeing different numbers?
Yeah, I have Max Muncy slashing 190, 313, 286 for an OPS of 599 and an OPS plus of 73.
Oh, wow.
You could pretty much take anybody in the league and put them in Max Muncy's spot. It would be better right now.
Well, let's do this.
And he's played in 39 games this year.
Yeah, and that's almost all of them, right? So it's a very fair assessment. So I'm going to go to Baseball Reference. We're going to do this on the fly then, since the data is flawed somehow from Fangraphs. Shame, Fangraphs, shame. So the Yankees right now are using. They've had 33 games out of Oswaldo Cabrera. Okay, Oswaldo Cabrera in those 33 games is posting a .4 WAR. That's not as good as Nolan. We got a 243 average, not as good. We've got an OPS plus of 81, not as good. And slugging is at 311, not as good. Okay? If we look at Oswaldo Cabrera's freaking defense, okay, let me get there. We're scrolling. It's fabulous. His fielding percentage right now is at 929. Still good. Not as good as Nolan's. Bazinga, right? So the Yankees could be in talks. And I don't care what anybody wants to say. Like, I know DJ LeMahieu's on his way back, but they're talking about him tentatively, which is appropriate because everything is falling apart, as it has been for years. So then I thought, okay, and they're platooning, right? No other third baseman in the Yankees organization who's spent any time at third base has anything approaching even Oswaldo Cabrera's fielding percentages and F-WAR. Okay? So it's better. It's better. We are going to move now to Detroit. Let's move to Detroit. Okay? The Tigers, if they were to upgrade from Jace Young. Okay, hold on. Is it Jacob
Jung? I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So Jace Young offensively. So
I spelled it wrong.
Just real quick. He's not there. He's not necessarily their everyday third baseman. They want him to be, but he's not. He's played in 16 games this year, but he's slashing 100, 234, and 100. He has an OPS plus of 1.
Right. 1. Okay.
Offensively, not where they want him to be, but I think there's something to be said for playing consistently. And he's not getting it, but it's because he's not there yet. He's good defensively. He's got a total zone fielding runs above average. He's at 3. Okay, so that's basically his defensive rating compared to everybody else. His range factor per game is 2.44. So he's more of a defensive guy than an offensive guy, and so I do think you would certainly be upgrading though. Yeah. Because remember, the Tigers were shopping for Bregman during the offseason. So that's right. I think it's safe to say that they're probably continuing to shop because they don't like where Young is at.
So then we're going to go to, I had Michael Garcia on here from Kansas City. I know they're not going to move on from him. I got it. Right. But Nolan would be an upgrade still.
Maybe. He's having a good year. He really is having a good year. Look at this, Brig. Look at this. I got Tell me. Okay. He's hitting 306. Yeah. This is over 41 games. He's got a 373 on base, slugging 472, with a 138 OPS plus. Offensively, he's good, man.
Yeah.
He's right where he needs to be. And then defensively, he's only got 1 error. He's got a fielding percentage of 981. I think that they're fine. And mostly what it is yes, Nolan Arenado brings a high level of consistency, better and way more experience than Michael Garcia. I understand that. But at the same time, though, I'm sure that they're like, there are other areas that we could stand upgrade more than that.
Sure.
Because we're getting a bargain at third base with Garcia.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. You're not wrong about that.
Because he's hitting his first year of arbitration this year. Or next year, actually. He's only got a year of service
next
time.
year, yeah. So, okay, so I'm looking around at the league, and I saw Cincinnati, and I thought, okay, well, let's look at Cincinnati, right? You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in their third base depth chart is gonna stand up to Nolan Arenado stuff. And exactly, nobody's playing. Because Marte, injured list, right? Espinal and Candelario, Gavin Lux, like, what are we talking about here? Come on, okay?
I don't think anyone necessarily want Gavin Lux necessarily at third base either.
Well, but he's listed as being on their depth chart. It's a third baseman. It's a possible emergency third baseman.
Yeah.
You don't want that. So, does Cincinnati make any sense? Probably not for Arenado. Probably for the Reds, though, it would.
Well, and I don't know that that's necessarily like, again, same thing with the Royals. I don't know that would necessarily be the hole that they're like, that's the hole that gets us over the top and gets us contending with the Cubs, right?
Totally. Yeah.
So I think that if things started coming around and they got to the point where like, you know what? If we got him and we plugged that hole, that would take us over. Then maybe they'd make the deal.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things with some of these teams that I don't know they necessarily would. So
what do you think about the Mets then? Because Vientos, he's a downgrade from Arenado.
Mm-hmm.
No question.
Yeah.
Fielding issues. He's got you could argue he's got a better offense than Arenado, but again, we walked through Arenado stuff, and he is good. He's doing it himself. Okay. There's nothing in the water, but you get that big of a defensive upgrade for a team that is killing it right now and is making a push. Like, they're already making a push. I know it's May.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be a major upgrade in Toronto from Barger and Clement. Easy.
Yeah.
And then the one I wanted to know from you is Seattle. Now, they've got Jorge Polanco.
So Jorge Polanco broke camp as the third baseman, right?
Yep.
But there were some injuries, some nagging things. Like, I think his knee is fine. I think he had like an oblique or something like that, where like he could hit lefty but couldn't hit righty, and it was tough for him to move laterally. So they put him at DH, and that's part of the reason he was on such a tear for a while, was because he's just hitting. Right, and he was only hitting from the left side, which is his power side. He's kind of a slap hitter from the right side. He's a power hitter from the left side, and to say slap hitter, he hits for average on the right side. How's that?
Sure, that makes sense.
But he was tearing it up from the left side of the plate. They're putting him in position to succeed. So I think Jorge Polanco as a DH is working in Seattle. I don't think they're going to necessarily move him from there unless they have to. Ben Williamson, I'm going to say they didn't start winning until he came up.
Right.
He is automatic defensively at third base. He is very, very good. He's got a cannon for an arm. He can field the ball. He's still learning. I think he's still learning how to adjust in the big leagues. He can hit. That's not why they brought him up, but he can hit, and he is up and down. Like he adjusts, has some success. They adjust to him. He drops down, then he adjusts again. Hey, he's figuring out big league life. He's been there for like 3 weeks, and he's been good. I don't think that they'd necessarily want to pay Arenado what they would have to pay him to move off of Ben Williamson, because I think he is the third baseman of the future. And if something were to happen, knock on wood, to Ben Williamson, I think that they would move to their next guy in line in the minor leagues, because another cheap guy who they're like, let's see what we've got. Cole Young has been Pacific Coast League Player of the Week twice in a row, 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, you're really hot on Cole Young. I think that's awesome.
So
you're just waiting for him to get up.
Yeah. That's actually, I was talking to our buddy Jewel about that today. That the situations where he comes up are not ideal, but if he does, it's going to be because they want him to get play every day. So so we'll see.
So baseball family, we want to know from you, where do you think Arenado's going to end up? He's moving. I think there's a 75% chance or better that he's not a Cardinal by the fall, right? Past the break.
Right.
Like, there's no way. Yeah. No way. I mean, it's possible that
maybe that's when a deal gets done, is the break.
Yeah. It's possible that the market says, nah, we're just not going to make that many shifts. There's a lot of time for these other guys to work their stuff out. So who knows? I don't know. I was just thinking he's going to be a hot trade piece. Just you wait, Henry Higgins. It's going to be a big conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So anyway.
For sure. I think you're right. Good analysis, though, Brig. I like it. Way to see it and to go after it. It's very good. Last thing we have for you today in baseball history, April 13th, 1989. Minnesota Twins center fielder Kirby Puckett tied a Major League record with 4 doubles against the Blue Jays, becoming the 35th player to hit 4 doubles in a game. Baseball family, don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review everywhere that you can, especially on YouTube. If you're there right now, just hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. That helps out a ton. But again, thank you so much for joining us. We will catch you Thursday night when we go live at 9:30 p.m. Eastern.